let you go to the stars.
You're always from home then.
And the sky, you'll always be.
You got anybody looking out for you, Rosie?
Mommy's little guy.
I look out for myself.
That's a scene from the Canadian drama The Body Remembers When the World Broke Open. The film has already received praise from critics and director Ava DuVernay. It's not streaming on Netflix in Canada, just in the US, but it does open in Toronto here in Canada today. The film focuses on a chance meeting between two Indigenous women. And CBC film critic Eli Glasner is here with more on this highly acclaimed Canadian production. So give us the gist of the story, Eli.
As you said, it starts with just this random interaction. These two women on a street corner in Vancouver, and Isla sees Rosie, and Rosie is bruised. She has been beaten, and she's actually barefoot. And someone on the other side of the street, you can hear screaming at her. Let's take a look. I'll give you a sense of what that feels like.
Hey, are you okay? Can I help you?
Just red.
What's that?
It's just red.
And so I think we've seen similar moments like that where something happens in front of you and you think, okay, what do I do? What do I do here? And Isla decides, I'm going to act. She intervenes, and she actually tells Rosie to come with her. Now, this movie is directed by Maya Tailfeathers and Kathleen Hepburn. So Maya is playing the woman who intervenes and is also co-directing this film. And yet it is filmed in one continuous take. So if we can roll some of that footage, you see, like, what you really feel is that you're there with these women as she is pulling Rosie away, as she is trying to get Rosie to come with her. You feel the pressure. You hear their heavy breathing. You can still hear that guy yelling, receding in the distance as Isla just tries to put some distance between the two of them and then try and get Rosie to come with her, go into her apartment. And you see Rosie's reluctance. She's not just abused, as we saw off the top there. She's also pregnant, and yet she's defiant. She's not really ready or willing to take that help. So then we go into Isla's apartment. We learn that both these women are Indigenous. Isla may have had some experience with the system, with community workers, and now they're safe in this beautiful place, beautiful view of the Rockies, and yet Isla's pushing Rosie to get help, and there's friction there, and part of it comes from these two Indigenous women with a very different experience about life in Canada, and you'll get a sense of that tension. I'll take a look right now.
You think you're better than me? You're not better than me. I'm gonna protect her. No one's taking my baby.
I'm not trying to tell you what to do.
Then what are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to help.
What she's trying to do is to get Rosie to get to a shelter, to get to a safe house. And you start to get a glimpse of, like, Rosie may have had other experiences with government institution that is leading to that reluctance. And so this is about poverty, about privilege, about the Indigenous experience. And Isla, I mean, she can pass as white. She tells a doctor she's Scandinavian, but she's actually Sami and Blackfoot, whereas Rosie doesn't have that ability. And so they come at it from very different points of view. And then those clash right there in the middle.
Now that technique, you know, the one long continuous shot, it's, you know, a lot of directors have tried it. It gets a lot of attention, gets celebrated. Sometimes it's, you know, has to be so carefully set up and all the rest of it. They are using it in this film. What do you think? Is it effective here?
I think it's remarkably effective. Now, it asks a lot of the audience. This is a slow film. You have to be patient. You have to kind of give yourself over to this experience. An experience, by the way, which was inspired by Tailfeather's own experience of walking by a woman's apartment and having this kind of interaction and really being affected by that kind of power dynamic as she tried to, I imagine, help this woman. But what it does with that continuous shot is it forces us to be there in the room, embedded with these characters, dealing with the tension, the camera roving as Rosie is trying to clean herself up, as she's listening to a Joni Mitchell record. You see Isla fretting, trying to call shelters, trying to find a place. Normally in a film, you would edit all those slow slow parts out, right? You would just get the highlights, the
Right.
meeting, the argument, getting in the taxi, going to the place. But by convincing us, by forcing us to stay in that moment, you really see what that negotiation is about between those two characters. And Rosie isn't an easy character to empathize with. She lies, she steals, but as that conversation continues, you start to get a sense of what is this reluctance? What is leaving her to not want to get help, that's pushing back so hard? It is, as I said, at times not an easy film to watch because possibly of the pacing, but also the content, but it feels utterly real. And that slice of life, I mean, I think certainly opened my eyes, and it's worth having that journey yourself. 4.5 stars
Wow.
out of 5.